right, 6:30, I'm gonna call to order the Board of Aldermen regular meeting for Tuesday, February 18th. Roll call, please.
Alderman Orsini.
Here.
Alderman Wilkins.
Present.
Alderman Deckard.
Here.
Alderman Rogers.
Present.
Alderman Magley.
Form. Everybody join me, pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, republic, which stands one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, folks. Appreciate it. That moves us to item 4, comments from citizens. All right.
DeBorman, 800 Jason Cole. Sarah, did you find anything out about the recycling using tubs?
Did not.
Okay.
I am sorry.
No,
Did we
that-
get, did,
I mean, tonight's recycling, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I could go and put mine out. How does the derelict building thing work? I mean, do people have to call in complaints about everything, or?
so it's mostly complaint driven. If one of us drive by a place and see it, then, well, I'll talk to Sandy about it. Sometimes Sandy will send me a report on a derelict building that we need to look at. And then we send letters and give them an opportunity to fix up the property. And if that doesn't work, then we have to go through the abatement process.
Because I know Landon has complained about the car washes, and now they don't look bad, but in the summer, those two look awful.
Yeah,
And there's lots of houses. There's a couple over here on Jefferson that they've been sitting empty for 10, 15 years.
mhm. And I've talked to Sydney about some of these properties, and the issue that we have from the city side is that if we send them a letter and tell them that they need to fix up the property, if they make any improvement,
I know, we went through that with the Narragansett building for
Yeah.
20 years. I was just curious about that.
Not if you deem it a dangerous structure though, right?
yeah, it's got to be dangerous though. So like with the examples of the car washes, they're not dangerous.
Even that
They
one-
just need to.
Depends out if you have it inspected or not.
even
Inspected to find out if it's an endangered building.
We could hire an engineer to come in and inspect it. Yeah.
I mean, that would speed up the process for you.
But for what use would be the question at that point. If it's not being used as a car wash anymore, then it's,
Commercial property that somebody
So
could
the
do
town
something
doesn't
else.
look trashy when people.
no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying you've got to close all the loopholes when you do it. So probably what we need to do is talk about, what I would think we ought to probably think about doing is as you talk about, well, we can only do this. What is, well, I think that they have a clear plan of what we say would be acceptable. And they have to have a plan, and that plan has to be timely. Has to have a time, it has to have timelines in it of what has to be done by when. And I think we should build a structure like that because it's very black and white then of the process they have to go through and what the expectation is. No difference in an employee and having an employee and holding them accountable to improvement or actions. It needs to be, have smart objectives put in it, and it needs to be just really clear that this property is insufficient, it's delinquent, and it needs to have at least to this level of satisfaction by this time. You got to be reasonable,
Mhm.
because in the UCC code that you get into in any court in the United States, that's what they're going to go by 98 out of 100 times. So we have to be reasonable, but being reasonable means, within 6 weeks, 3 months, they have to have this much done to this point, and then it would be phased over within no more than a year. It'd be at max, I would say, would have to be brought to an acceptable level. If they aren't able to do that any time, then it's almost like they've been foreclosed upon of not meeting the plan, and we could move forward, is what it would say, basically, in the writing, as long as we've given them sufficient opportunity. But we've got to be clear. I think that what is improvement, I think is where the problem was with the Narragansett building, right? You move 2 2x4s, or you take 2 bricks out, or you put a
Yeah,
door in. That's what goes on. You can't have that. You got to have it really tied down to these are the specific things that we deem need to be done. That has to be consistent. So you'd have to look somewhere where somebody's probably done that, went through that pain, and have that set up. And then that would be the form that they'd have to fill out to turn in once they got a notification of their plan of improvement, right?
Yeah, because you don't want to have to buy them or take them over like what we've done with the Narragansett building and with the old
Well, what,
Taekwondo
what we found with
building.
houses,
Yeah.
right? What we found with houses, and when you get to that point, you get to the administrative hearing, what it does is you don't end up owning it. They end up at that point they're selling the property to somebody that's going to do something with it. That's going to be
Yeah, that's,
and take the blight out and then do something with it right proactively.
there's so many that are just sitting that way.
There's a
And
bunch of them.
so I just was,
There's a lot of commercial property in Centralia that's not in very good health.
exactly. Yeah.
And and we need to, I mean, I'm talking about clutter, debris, what we wouldn't let somebody have in their yards. Well, these businesses are gonna need to do that too. And for so long, it's a battle we're gonna draw, I think, a line in the sand and start to do, because we talked about that, Sandy and I have, but the businesses are next, as long as, and the residential businesses as well,
Well,
so.
I mean, even downtown, storefronts look good, but you go on the backside,
Mhm,
it changes real quick.
mhm.
Well, and there's some
It's a
things,
tough-
there's some things that we can own in that too, though,
Yeah,
that frustrate me.
Yeah,
The alleys and so forth in the summer. You know, we shouldn't have hay to cut and weeds that 3 foot tall to cut in our alleys either. If we're gonna mandate to someone to keep their property clean, then we should be doing our own housework should be good in the
Yeah.
city as well.
It's hard for us to ticket somebody
Well,
for their grass violation.
I think you
We got
gotta, I think you gotta practice what you're preaching and what you want everybody to be held accountable to. So we own some of that as well. We've had some discussions about that and we're getting better at that. And I think it'll be really good instead of waiting until the Anchor Fest before we start to kill vegetation before it's completely mature and rooted and 3 foot tall.
Yeah.
So what Sydney had said is, we could have the landowner enter into a formal agreement with the city for development. It's not a nuisance process, it's contractual. It could be a first step. We could also use the contract as additional evidence in a nuisance proceeding. It would have to come before a formal finding or nuisance, and that would be for commercial properties. And she said you hit the nail on the head, with the blight. Chris.
Right, the only other thing I have, and Don asked me to ask this, because he was going home and fixing supper, so I'm not gonna be around just too long tonight. If the meeting goes very long. He's on planning and zoning, and he hasn't gotten any kind of agenda for Thursday night's meeting.
I'm gonna get it out either this evening or in the morning.
Okay, because I mean, I thought, he said he thought there was supposed to be some sketch plats or something on there, and they need to be able to look at those right before the meeting.
Mhm.
So, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Do we have any other comments from citizens at this time? Thank you, Linda. I'll close comments from citizens. That'll move us through consent agenda. That would be, items A, B, C, D, and E, each being Board of Alderman meeting minutes, Public Works and Utilities Committee meeting minutes, General Government Public Safety Committee meeting minutes, electric report, and the activity reports. I would accept a motion to accept all as one, or if you have any, changes to that or modifications to that, let me know.
we accept the consent agenda as published.
Okay. The first and second that we accept the consent agenda as published. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Consent agenda passes. That moves us then to accounts payable over $1,250 for a total of $182,650.09. Accept the motion to approve. If y'all take the time to look it over, have any questions, absolutely.
What did Greg Harmon,
That house over there that we
Lakeview and Central.
Lakeview and Central, where they wanted to put a duplex in and we had the hearing about it and everything. That one, so we cleaned it all, so he gets 1,500.
yeah, we should have taken the bid too, because it's got it way back on it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess maybe,
Using it for storage,
yeah, so,
move that we approve for the payment account payable over $1,250 in the amount of $182,650.09. Second.
at first and second, we approved the accounts payable of $250 for a total of $182,650.09. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. That moves us to, the action agenda, item 7. I looked this over, and so this is about the headgear, right?
Yes,
And us meeting the county or the state?
the state
The
statute.
state statute, right, is what this is about, right?
Well, I had, my question on this, and Sydney, for you, I guess. The first two sentences say they've got to wear headgear. Then the next one says, well, it's got to meet standards and specs. And then like the last sentence says, no political subdivision of this state shall impose a protective headgear requirement on the operator or passenger, motorcycle or motorcycle tricycle. It seems like it contradicts itself. The first two sentences say you gotta wear it, the last one say it doesn't.
One's under 26. One's over 26.
Except that it says no political subdivision of the state shall impose a protected headgear requirement on the operator.
Yeah,
or
but
passenger of a
but
motorcycle
it's
or
saying they gotta wear it.
It does not specify over the age of 26.
So I'm taking it, if you're under 26 years of age, you have to have one on. Is that what this is saying?
Yes. So if they're under 26, Sydney, they have to wear protective headgear per the state statute.
Operating or,
No. That's what it says, that ain't, you don't have to be 26.
Now I can, sorry about that.
Probably, I mean, yeah, probably a juvenile would, but
that'd be tough, wouldn't it?
Probably don't write tickets for it. Yeah, you can't, I mean. Anybody ain't tickets for that?
yeah,
Ride a motorcycle without a helmet?
yeah, I mean, that's,
No.
What is the state
what's the
statute?
state law on it?
The state law is 26? I've never heard that.
Something to add.
So if there is an ambiguity or a vagary in this language, it is also carried forward in the state law.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's what they're,
This is still contradictory.
because the first half of the wording states that they shall wear headgear, and then it's just the last sentence or two. It states that it won't be, I guess, enforced.
Kind of looks like it says, Missouri motorcyclists under 26 must wear a helmet.
Yeah, basically what it's saying, you're using less than probable cause to pull someone
Yeah.
over solely on the fact they're not
On
wearing a
that, for
helmet.
that reason alone, first and foremost. Yeah, right.
Cause to pull them over.
So 26 does mirror the state. I didn't know for sure about that. I'm gonna wear a helmet when I've had a motorcycle, but, right.
That'd be hard to do.
Sure, it'd be impossible to enforce. I would work is if you stop them for speeding and not wearing a helmet, they're
And then you can write up for that.
Ticket.
But if they're over 26 but don't have proof of insurance, you could probably write them a helmet. It says that as well.
If they don't have insurance.
Insurance or, yeah. And, they don't have. So this does then, in fact, tie us to the state
Yeah.
statute, which is what. Then it would be, so it would be in alliance and with that. Okay.
Correct, yes.
So it would be bill number
2559.
would be, entertain a motion to, for bill number 2559 to be, given its first reading by title only.
I move the bill number 2559 be given its first reading by the order.
First and second, that bill number 2559 be given its first reading by title only. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It passes. First reading, please.
An ordinance to amend section 18-7, 1B regarding protective headgear while operating or riding a motorcycle in the city of Centralia and establishing an effective date herein. I move that bill number 2559 be given its second reading by title only.
Have first and second, that bill number 2559 be given its second reading by title only. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Second reading, please.
An ordinance to amend section 18-7, 1B regarding protective headgear while operating or riding a motorcycle in the city of Centralia and establishing an effective date herein. I move that bill number 2559 be adopted by roll call vote.
Second.
First and second that bill number 2559 be adopted by roll call vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Orsini?
Nay.
Alderman Wilkins?
Four.
Alderman Deckard?
4.
Alderman Rogers?
Four.
Alderman Magley?
Okay, it passes 4-1. Ordinance number.
3200.
Thank you. That moves to item 2. Under legal mileage reimbursement amendment, any questions about that? It's just basically getting us to a current state of mileage that we haven't been
Right.
up to at this point, right?
Yeah, we haven't updated it since 2008. It was set at a set amount of 50 cents. So what this wording does is it just states that we will pay out what the Missouri state rate is.
What's the rate right now?
67 cents. That's what I saw online.
It's more than Canadian spend.
Bill number?
Bill number, I would, yeah, so if there's no more questions on it, I would, entertain a motion for bill number 2560 to be given its first reading by title only. This is a resolution, one and only.
2560.
Move that bill number 2560 be given its first and only reading by title only.
Second.
Have first and second that bill number 2560 be given its first reading and only reading by title only. All in favor? All opposed? First reading and only reading, please.
Bill to create a resolution entitled a resolution of the city of Centralia, Missouri, amending resolution number R-08-011 and adopting an amended formal written policy for reimbursement for use of a privately owned vehicle or public transportation on city business. That bill number 2560 be adopted by roll call vote.
Second.
Have first and second that bill number 2560 be adopted by roll call vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Orsini?
Four.
Alderman Wilkins?
Four.
Alderman Deckard?
4.
Alderman Rogers?
Four.
Alderman Magley?
Yeah.
Bill number 2560 passes. That'll be resolution number 3201.
The resolution.
Oh, no, yeah.
25-01.
Thank you. Right again. C would be a motion for allow to sign sign a joint use agreement with Brightspeed. That's something that, Sydney, you've looked over, right? Cause there's a lot to it. It's a contracting agreement. Any highlights, any thoughts you want to give to us?
No, this has been about a 6-month piece with Brightspeed. Brightspeed approached the city. We determined that there are certain actual electrical poles within the city that are not city-owned property. So I do think that this helps to clarify like who's responsible for what and cost. There are approximately 264, I think, poles that are identified as being Brightspeed owned property. So this has been back and forth. Matthew, Tara, myself, and have looked at it. So I believe that it is appropriate for them to.
Okay.
So they have 200 some poles of their own in town.
Mm-hmm.
Where are they located? All over? Or?
We have wires on those poles.
And transformers.
That don't
Yeah,
make
so
sense.
everything's co-located.
We
in
were-
this-
Don't make sense that they have poles. We had electricity way before they even come to town.
I know
So I mean,
that this
You
was
know,
a
I mean-
surprise to us when they brought it to us, and I found some documentation from many years ago about the agreement that was made at the time with the communications company, and they owned 200 some odd poles, and they've got an inventory list of all of these poles, and I'm quite certain we've replaced them.
So if one of their poles goes bad, do they replace it?
So we've got it worked into the agreement where there's shared ownership of as far as,
So just to make sure, whoever has to respond, so let's say in this instance, we got that, the city is able to, more quickly respond than Brightspeed. We get reimbursed for all of our labor, time, and equipment to replace that pole. So we're not on the hook, and there is now a clear structured, payment and reimbursement process within the contract that did not previously exist.
We probably weren't getting reimbursed on a regular basis or at all.
At all.
yeah, not
That's
at
a
all.
well, we didn't even know they were their poles.
Right.
It's
Our
electricity on every one of those poles.
Not every
Not
one of
everyone,
them.
no, it's mixed. It's a mixture of stuff.
operation varied.
The, The question I have, are our poles, just a question for my edification, is, are our poles, are they tagged with, each one of them have a pole number?
So some of them are, that process stopped, many years ago. So, Clayton's been tasked with doing a pole inventory and getting us back up to speed on that.
They should all be marked with their own identifiers of their own individual identifier. Good, okay, good. That's why I was asked that question.
Is this like a lifetime contract or a 100-year?
5 years, isn't it?
In 5
Does
years.
anybody know that?
Is it,
I think it's a 5-year with an extension, so in
Yeah.
other words, if we don't
ever-
terminate it within a year, it will extend for another 5.
it's evergreen, right? If neither party responds,
Correct.
right? So it's 5 years
Correct.
with that is evergreen that will renew always unless one party or the other decides not to, is what I read.
Every town probably has this, don't they?
Yeah, and we have joint use agreements with Ameren and Charter.
When in the mail, we were talking the mayor's thing that I was there for a small period of time. This was one of the topics that got brought up, and they were talking about what a nightmare it is with the communications lines and cable and all of that stuff, that it's just, it's a problem for most cities because of the evolution of the technology and abandoning stuff and.
Some of these poles were put in back with the still bell system.
Right. It wasn't Brightspeed at that time.
No,
it was
it
AT&T.
was before Brightspeed, before Century's Health. It was back when it was AT&T Bell system.
Small
They
bill.
were.
Small bill.
So, what does this do for us, the stuff we're putting underground? I mean, if it's their pole, they can leave their pole.
But if the pole goes bad, it is on them
They own
to
it.
replace it.
Yep.
Or take it down
It's on
if they don't have anything on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any more thoughts, questions? It's just one of those things that's gone on for a long time that we're now trying to rectify the best we can to protect the city. And, any disagreement over it, this is very gray at this point, right? As far as I'm concerned, as well as gets us reimbursed for the work we're doing on these
Yeah.
poles already all the time.
Good thing.
Yeah.
So, we allow the mayor to sign a joint use agreement with,
First and second, to be the mayor to sign a joint agreement with Brightspeed. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion to authorize the mayor to enter into a contract with MoDOT for roundabout light agreement. You wanna give us the overview of that?
Yes. So, with the roundabout, when that project first started, we had lights in that area. It was about 6 lights. One of them had been hit by a car and was taken out, but we knew the project was coming in, so they didn't put it back up. And then we renewed the remaining 5. MoDOT has put in 6 lights. They are their lights as of right now. Should we sign this contract, then we would take over ownership of those lights. If we don't, those are the only 6 lights along Highway 22 and 124 and 151 that they would own. We have maintenance over all the other lights. What this would also do is allow us to connect our equipment to it so that we can run a shorter line down to energize the 2 lights on 151. Otherwise, we've got to run another line down that road. We can connect the MoDOT.
So if somebody hits one of the poles and breaks it off, then it's our insurance and it's our
Yes.
dollar.
not right now. Smoke.
No,
Right
no,
now
but
it's
if we were to go to the
Yeah.
agreement.
But
And
we
then
take-
their
So
insurance
we
has
can't
to be-
make an agreement, because we're selling them the power, correct? For them lights?
No, we're providing the power.
We are providing the power, and if they keep the lights, then yes, it would be metered and they would pay for it. But if
So
we
we
take over
can't make a
maintenance,
deal with them that you keep your lights and we'll connect the 2 lights that are parked down 151?
we discussed that, and that was not an option that they were okay with.
Not
Well,
even-
I mean, really, it's a highway, so they'd still be MoDOT lights if we took them down. They'd have to complain to MoDOT to put lights up. MoDOT would have to put lights up.
Correct. We could choose to take the lights down and then,
Then it'd be MoDOT's problem. I don't know, them light poles get hit quite a bit out there. Did,
Yeah, that was before we put that roundabout in.
yeah, they're still stupid out there.
They get hit, we get reimbursed. We get reimbursed when they get hit through insurance and stuff.
Yeah,
Usually,
the person who hits the light, their insurance generally pays for the damages.
What's our electric guys think? I mean, do they?
Clayton was fine either way. We do maintain all the lights down Highway 22.
All the others,
I don't know,
all the other lights that
you know, I look
would have
at
been theirs if we hadn't taken them?
MoDOT spent $1.1 million. Didn't cost us much of anything.
Well,
If we had
State
to-
highway, they should.
Well, it
Well,
costs
it
all the
has to.
it costs all the taxpayers something, because MoDOT is not a privatized, it's a governmental agency, so we paid for the $1.1 million as taxpayers.
We can maintain them a lot easier, MoDOT.
Yeah,
And
I don't have a problem.
I'm not disagreeing with that, I'm just saying, but I wanted to know, to understand that. That's what I wanted to know.
Out by Knights of Columbus, Gano Chance Road, I guess that's what it is, in 124. Who owns that light? Okay, and we maintain that one. Okay, well, that's, I don't see anything.
That and Lakeview, they're both out of luck.
Mike, get into it.
Which one? The one at 124, but the county owns the one on the other end, right? Or is there one at the other end, the pole or whatever?
Not by the Knights.
No, back this way on Anchor Road, it's called Anchor Road.
The other, Lakeview too, there's another one at Lakeview. We own that one too, don't we?
Yeah.
I guess we would, yeah.
Oh, there's not a light there. It was asked about putting a light up there where the curve is on JJ's, which would be right there before you get on Anchor Road to go. The light above there so people could see that intersection if they're not familiar with it or something like that. And I've had people mention that several times, but it's the county's poles out there. That's what the problem is. Okay, answer my question, thanks.
I'll make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the contract with MoDOT for roundabout light agreement.
Second.
First and second, for the mayor to enter a contract with MoDOT, for the roundabout light agreement. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Have one. No vote. Passes. Motion to direct, the city attorney to amend the planning and zoning code to add a set meeting date. What, help me understand this one. Review on this, what you thinking on it.
So, the Planning and Zoning Commission, there's nothing in the code that states that they shall meet on this day every month. So it is becoming increasingly more difficult to work with the commission to try and set a date. So if I get like this sketch plat, trying to set up a date with the commission, all their different schedules, it is very difficult to try to get a date meeting sometimes. If we have a set date every month, it's a whole lot easier to cancel a meeting if we don't have business to discuss. And especially with the upcoming year, with all the code changes that we're looking at making, and with the comprehensive planning process, it's going to make that a whole lot easier if we have a set date every month.
Did you talk to P and Z about this?
No, we're talking about the upcoming meeting on Thursday. I have warned them that we are talking about that.
So should we vote on this before they?
So this is a commission or board decision, not a planning and zoning commission.
But what if they don't wanna do
Yeah,
that?
does it go into section that involves planning and zoning, so it goes in a planning and zoning process, so this will ultimately be a full board decision. Be asking what their preference is.
I think it's like Tara says, it's easier to have a meeting if you have a set day, you don't have anything to talk about, just cancel it.
It also helps the public, especially those who attend P&Z meetings regularly, know when they are, instead of just trying to catch them when they're in the paper or online.
We can also have an emergency meeting if they need it.
Yes, we could call another meeting if we needed
That
to.
doesn't handicap that.
I'll make a motion, we direct the city attorney to amend the planning and zoning code to have a set meeting date.
Have first and second to, direct the attorney to amend the planning and zoning code to add a set meeting date. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Alrighty, that moves us to Old business, do we have any old business at this time? Hearing none, move to me, the mayor, number 8. A motion to appoint Evan Plank as a water plant operator, replacing, Jay in his retirement, is that correct?
Yes. So Jay retired. His last day was Friday. He was the water plant operator. Evan was the assistant plant operator, and we would like to promote him up to plant operator.
So I entertain a motion.
Second.
I have first and second to appoint Evan Plank as a water plant operator. All in favor? All opposed? So he's duly appointed. Moves us to the city administrator, number 9.
Right, so report is in the packet. We've had a busy month. Things of note, I did get the, new police, evidence clerk position posted. We have 3 current full-time employees that are interested in those 2 open spots. I'll be working with Harlan, to get that process all figured out, in the near future. I believe that closes Friday. Am I correct in my thinking on that, Harlan?
So the exact date you set for it, so
I'm thinking it's
So-
this Friday,
3 weeks,
2 weeks.
2 months.
So just I'm up to speed on this. So this is for the new positions?
Yes.
The title, and it's 2?
2.
Yeah, I didn't know how many we'd settled on. Two starting out, 2 employees is what we're talking about?
Yes. So we had decided on 2.5, but Harlan, and I talked, and we're not filling the part-time position quite yet.
As of yet?
As
To
of
see
yet.
what's going on and then to add it if needed, or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're concerned on how we'll, schedule for that position, just because we've going to cover from 7 to 3 and 3 to 11. So if you have 2 full-time positions, people in those spots, and unless they need to take off for an extended amount of time, then
What-
it's
what
gonna
hours
take
they
a
get?
part-time person who doesn't need a set amount of hours a week.
And then that's it, point.
Yeah.
That's good.
We've got some things to work out with that probably, but that's what we're looking at.
So the hours you all talked about then, I'm just getting brought up to speed. I don't do, that's for y'all to decide and talk through and work through this. From 7 in the morning till 11 at night.
Mhm.
So it's okay.
My opinion, that's the most
Okay.
time that you're gonna,
I've heard that from you early on, at least 11. I know it's what we talked in the beginning to the stages.
it needs to change, to some degree, I can do that.
It's like anything, as things change, you gotta adapt to them, right, and do what you need to do for them, so, good, good.
Was there anything significant in your meeting with the Deer Hathaway?
No, so with the sketch plat, we really, according to our code, there's 9 items that we have to make sure that, are met in the sketch plat, and he, there was a couple that he had to correct. He submitted a finished sketch plat, and that's what we're gonna be looking at Thursday evening.
Is he gonna limit parking to 2 vehicles per unit?
According to our code, he only has to put in, I believe it's 1 spot, but there will be more parking than that.
This is for the Jefferson.
Mhm.
I mean, I thought we were talking about limited to 2, so you don't have 5 vehicles parked around for 1 unit.
Right, so his plan is in the sketch plat for the driveway to come in, have 3 spots in front of each unit. It's gonna be hard to, so there's a driveway, but then it cuts out a little bit, so you can have 2 up by the house and then 1 behind. But those are the driveways that you know, put in there. And right now, we're still at the sketch plat process, so I don't have the final layout of the lot or anything.
It's not bad, it allows for 2 vehicles for the unit and 1 per guest.
Well, if you, right, a young adult or teenager that's at driving age, if you have one of those and you have two people have jobs and cars, it's 3 vehicles right there, pretty quick, so.
Definitely working on the budget this more than just the past month, but this month we really ramped up, and had our budget meetings, and we had our budget work session last Monday. That was really, really good. Had a monthly work session with Sydney. We've got those set up. We're working, together after the Board of Aldermen meeting every month, so we can work on anything that comes up during the meetings and, keep up on, everything that's going on. We've got a lot in this next year that we're planning, so we want to just make sure we stay on top of everything. We also had our MIRMA annual renewal this year, and we got 89%. Anything over 80% is meeting the expectations every year. We've gone up in our improvements with MIRMA. As soon as we hit 90th percentile, we can actually start earning money back from any of the covered cities that don't get at least 80%.
What did we get this year?
In 89.
89.
Mm-hmm.
I heard the 9, I'm sorry.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing real good with all that.
You
And
look
then-
on the new software search?
That, yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna be working on the RFP this week because we got to get that going. We're gonna do an RFQ so we can get companies, see who's interested, and bring in demos. So we can see the different software packages. We're gonna be reaching out to different cities depending on who responds to our request for qualifications and getting referrals from other municipalities.
What's the software company?
I am hoping to get a really comprehensive software package that could possibly include more than just our financial software and payroll.
Yeah, I think it's really important to look at something that's modular enough that can be used for growth and to expand and to be a complete operating system for you if you can. Hard to do sometimes, but I mean, the more the better in those situations.
There are some good ones out there that have even customer-facing software that we can add to our website to fill out for like permits, business licensing. That would be really nice. It'd be also nice to have permitting and utility billing included in it because it would streamline.
Something too, as we negotiate those agreements, when we look at those, we should ask about future needed services that we may want to add on.
Mhm.
We can't get them locked for a 3-year period of time at what they are presently today. Where we'll know our cost for budgeting moving forward. We may want to grow into a program, a suite, a robust program as you're putting it. So we want to have fixed costs that we can count on. So if you can add it to the budget and make budgeting easier for you as you go forward, if you can get those locked in for 3 years at that price. You know what I'm saying? As you go along, it'll help you in doing that. So you're doing, try to get that kind of added in there as well as people fight for our business.
Mhm.
All right. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Any questions for our city administrator? That moves us to our city attorney. I'll turn it over to you.
Hopefully you can hear me. It was, as she and I have now determined we're going to be doing monthly work sessions at the meeting. She and I have also established a Teams page and a Teams link so that we can start real-time communicating during the daytime versus trying to touch each other via email, text, or phone. So that'll be helpful for us to be able to communicate and share documents. I am starting to collect fourth-class cities planning and zoning codes to start looking at comparisons with Boone County and our zoning code as we move forward in the planning, just to kind of see what other folks are doing, what other language looks like, to see where we might need to improve. Tara and I also worked on getting, and we'll be getting some amended language with our collective with our union. So as well.
Right,
Any
so
questions?
any questions for our city attorney? Seeing none, then thank you very much for that. Our city clerk.
I'll say again, busy month. February's a good month for me. end of the year, December, over that, and then caught up in January, all those changes, so February's a good time to just kind of get more things caught up before we right back up in March for end fiscal year, and then the beginning of April, and there we go again. So lots of meetings, P and Z coming up, like she said, budget meetings. I do have a clerk's meeting, and you're talking about the software, so I have a clerk's meeting on Friday. I'm in a network with the city clerks, and I won't say vast majority, a large number of municipalities had G-Work software like we had, similar problems, frustrations, so there's been a lot of those that have transitioned away. So I've had a lot of feedback on those that have, some contact demos, companies they've gone to. A lot of, we'll be talking more about that on Friday, so a great resource there for us. Yep, yeah. There also, just a reminder, there is, or if you don't know, there is being held in here next Tuesday night, the Boone County Planning and Zoning Commission hold a formal public hearing on their Boone County Master Plan. They'll be holding 3 of those here, Ashland, and then I think in Columbia, so that is next Tuesday here in Chambers at 6:30.
Any questions for our clerk? Thank you for doing. And, that'll move us into, closed session. I would, entertain being, a motion to go into closed session with a vote, be read in, under the provisions stated.
Move that we go into a closed session. Meeting all board involved may like to go into closed session and call a closed vote. The purpose of such closed session and closed vote shall be 3, as provided under 10.201. 3 of the revised statute of hiring, firing, disciplining, or promoting of particular employees of the body. 9, appropriation including any discussions or work product on behalf of a public governmental body for services or negotiations.
Second. First and second to go into closed session based upon the stated reason. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Orsini? 4. Alderman Wilkins?
4.
Alderman Deckard?
4.
Alderman Rogers?
4.
Alderman Magley?
Okay, we'll adjourn into closed session. This may be, okay, well, we returned from closed session. There were no votes taken. The only vote taken in closed session was to, return to open session. So we're back. And so now I am at,
I did have a comment, citizen.
okay.
I got asked if the fire station is 24-hour service.
I beg your pardon?
So it's a volunteer fire department, so it is not
They
staffed
know it's
24
volunteer fire.
hours. It's not staffed 24 hours, but they do respond to emergency calls 24 hours
There's
a
2
day.
cars over there that are over there all the time sitting inside, so they want to know if it's 24-hour fire station.
There's 2 cars sitting in.
I guarantee you, there's 2 of them sitting out in front of the fire station. They're inside the fire station. 24 hours.
No,
They,
but they have a right to come and go to it, I guess.
Yeah,
if
they
they're
do
volunteer
come
to
to
use the
go.
facility.
Okay, they got the right to sit in there hours and hours of the night, watch TV and do all that? Okay. It's
Right.
I got it.
I mean, they can respond to
As
that.
long as they are turning in hours, I guess, to me.
I just,
That's all I'm saying. But
messenger.
I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't think about shooting you, buddy.
I make a motion.
I have one other admin.
Yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
We need to discuss adult daycare before P and Z on Thursday.
I did not put that on the Thursday agenda. Going to be, nope, that's not on the agenda on Thursday.
What is an adult daycare?
It's for people that need to be like a child that need to be, or whatever, need to be supervised during the day, and you drop them off and come back and pick them up. It'd be a daycare, it'd be like
I mean, it's kind of like Impact.
Impact.
Kind of like Impact?
It's
Yeah.
kind of like Impact.
you gotta be trained and certified and all that though, just to start doing it. You just don't do it
Yeah.
like you do babysitting out of your house. You keep somebody else.
You gotta want
So
to
there's
do.
somebody that wants to do that in town?
We've had a couple of requests.
Mm-hmm.
They came to me to request a business license for it. It's not zoned, and it's not in our code.
I don't think we have a
Do
business
dealership-
license for
does
it either.
Detail stuff have business license?
Well, we'll have to take that up on the next.
We'll be meeting again very shortly after this meeting. This agenda got super long though.
Second Thursday of every month.
For what?
Yeah, I've gotta get the availability. Obviously, we wanna get it to where,
Second Thursday of every month, sounds good to me.
Well, the mayor don't have to be on it, I'm saying.
Second.
Motion we adjourn.
She already made it, I seconded
You
it.
did?
Even voted yet.
We haven't voted yet.
Aye.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Unanimously, we are adjourned.